Come on, man.
Come on, man.
You know, the start of every single La Plática episode, we got to talk about the #1 rated ticketing app on the App Store.
SeatGeek?
Is there another #1 rated ticketing app?
I mean, if you go on the
Store?
App Store, that's the #1 rated ticketing app on the App Store with more than 70,000 live events, 28 million downloads daily.
Then let's talk about it, bro.
Your favorite artist, your favorite team.
Bro, it's date night. All right, it's Monday, Friday's around the corner. Let's get it set up, right? And let me hook y'all up real quick, all right? We got a new code for you guys. The code is La Plática 10. You're gonna get 10% off your ticketed purchase. 10% off, baby. What's the code again?
La Plática 10. It's that easy.
New code in the building.
New
same
code
discount.
alert.
It's going crazy, guys.
Yeah,
you
guys
already know.
Use SeatGeek, and not only that, it's rated #1 because it's so easy to use. I love that. Sometimes I don't even buy anything. I just like to look at it. I like to scroll.
Yeah.
Who's up? Who's up? Oh, you know who I'm gonna go see?
Who?
May 18th, and I hope to see you guys there. If you guys are in
you will.
Southern California,
Yeah.
Alejandro Fernandez.
Wow.
Last time I said Vicente, but I fucked up.
You did.
But it's Alejandro Fernandez.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was thinking about taking you,
Man, you always be bullshitting, man.
but I'm definitely gonna take my wife. I might take my cousin, my brother, maybe
that,
my
bro.
dad.
I
You
love
know.
that. I love that. Hey, if you guys want to go, you guys want to see him as well, use the code La Plática 10. You guys will get 10% off your ticketed purchase only on SeatGeek. Love you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this incredible episode, by the way. And we'll see you guys in 12.4
seconds. Yeah, incredible
is.
episode.
I'm going to use it.
Let me be honest.
Every guest is a privilege.
Do we want to go there?
Get jolly. Cause I'm on a podcast with Josh Labor.
Yeah, you have two motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Let me just tell you. Should we do the show? You guys want to do a show?
I'm super down to do a show.
Let's do a show.
I've been doing a show for like 3 years.
Let's do a podcast.
4 years.
We're back.
Okay, let's
Guys,
do it.
friends, family, how we doing? Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome back to La Plática. According to Google, we are the #1 Latino podcast in the world.
Woo!
That's just according to Google, though.
Shan, I never
That's
said
a pretty
it.
reputable source.
Yeah,
What's
I would
crazy-
say it's weird.
and
Really,
I-
the only one.
And I just want to prove this to you, so you know I'm with the shits.
Oh, wow.
Our wonderful producer Jess is gonna Google it.
Do you guys do this every episode?
No,
It's a
this
little
is
weird.
first time
It's a strange intro. You don't talk about the guests, you talk about yourself.
There you go.
Wow.
No, we
wow.
just because people think that we be bullshitting, and we don't be bullshitting.
Because everybody in America is the #1 something, right?
Yeah.
They have
It
to
is.
be.
They
It
have to
is.
be the
Yeah.
best pizza.
Right.
the
Yeah,
best
world's
thing.
best
World's
coffee.
best,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Yeah.
From Elf.
Yeah.
When he sees that,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah, and it's
That's exactly what I'm looking for. from
you know
people.
what? It's actually so true. It's so true. But you
Yeah.
have to say it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Continue your intro.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sebas. That's my wonderful co-host, Sebas, and I'm Josh Leva. Before we get into this incredible episode, we want to thank our friends over at SeatGeek,
SeatGeek.
#1 rated ticketing app on the App Store. If you're looking for live events, date nights.
SeatGeek got you covered.
Yes, guys, this episode I am truly excited for. This person is very special. You guys have requested for us to bring on somebody of this, realm.
Yeah.
So we are here to deliver. How else can we remain #1 if we don't deliver for our audience?
We hear you guys, and
Yes.
we we're gonna bring it to you.
Exactly. Our guest for today is a sex and relationship expert. Okay. She's a author. Can't speak. I'm nervous. Author. She's a wife. She's a mother. She is somebody I've known for 8 years now. Our relationship has been not as consistent as I would like, but when we get together, it's like we just saw each other 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, we
So-
started out talking about sex.
Right.
That was the foundation of our relationship.
Yes.
So I feel like we were off with a bang.
Yeah.
Right.
So
of
I feel
course.
like, that's gonna transcend time and consistency. It's just like the power of how we began.
Right. Which I will get into that story.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Yeah.
Please help me welcome Shan Boodram, everybody.
Yay! Thank you.
Yes. So it's funny that you say that. I met Shan 8 years ago, right? I got hit up for a brand opportunity to work with MTV VMAs
Wow.
and Trojan condoms,
I love that.
right?
Yes.
Reputable condom.
Right. Great condoms, right?
The #1 condom.
the #1
Check
condom.
Google.
Oh, I believe it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got hit up for this, and for me, growing up Latino, I grew up raised by a single mom. Sex was like super taboo for me. right?
I don't think it was the number one condom because you quickly clicked away. So she's like, it's
Did
not.
you actually look it up?
Yeah, she did.
Well,
Is it?
actually,
In the US,
in
I
the
think.
US, Trojan is
Yeah.
widely considered the number one condom.
Yeah.
Widely considered is not the same as
As
No.
the
Like,
right.
this is
Ours
the.
had a the,
But
right?
it's true. When you travel, you don't really see Trojan. And plus, like if you travel to Europe or any other country, how can they say Trojan man? How can I say that?
Right.
I love that you travel and buy condoms.
Right.
This is
No, I
a
travel
story,
and see condoms.
but you have to be looking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't.
They're always in the
Casually,
front.
I don't notice the condoms.
They're always
I
in
in
the
the
don't
front.
either. I don't even notice them here. in
I think the
US.
worldwide condom is Durex.
Durex. I think that's just a Mexico thing.
Might be. But yeah,
Yes. So
Jessica?
we is it?
Durex is not a Mexican thing.
Is it
I'm not
I
asking
don't
that.
know.
I'm asking
I
if it's
really
the number
don't
one
know.
condom worldwide.
Yeah. What is the number
Worldwide
one
Durex?
condom?
Ugh, hold on, sorry.
You guys shouldn't have introduced me to this feature. It's gonna be very distracting. I really like
What
it.
else can we Google?
Yeah.
Some of the most popular condom brands globally include Durex, Trojan, and Lifestyle Skin.
Yeah.
Lifestyle skin.
You see how they put Durex first though before Trojan?
Okay. You might be onto something.
I like how you said it. You said Durex.
He said Durex.
Durex.
Yeah.
Durex.
That sounds a little hotter.
It does sound harder. Say it again.
Durex.
Damn.
What's hotter, Durex or Trojan man?
Durex.
Durex.
Okay,
Damn.
Yeah.
It just hits. It gets to the point, baby.
Yeah.
Trojan
You
man
know?
sounded silly. That's the tone I want to set.
We're two silly guys here.
You are two silly
you know,
guys,
I
yeah.
hope that
Yeah.
you expect silliness out of
Okay,
this
good.
episode.
Yeah.
So yes, we did this incredible partnership with Trojan.
Yeah. How
I
cool.
was super nervous going into this because I've never publicly talked about sex, and obviously, like I came in more as like the comedy relief character, and Shan was gonna be the one who was gonna like bring the facts
The
and the
expert.
sex and all of the you know what I mean.
She is the expert.
Yeah, yeah. But even for me to like be associated with that was like it was a little outside of my comfort zone, you know. And I remember being nervous to tell my mom because that was like the first time we actually really started talking about like, you know how like there's people have sex, mom, and
Yeah.
like people will use like, you know, things over their penis like to protect them from stuff, you know, like I'm working on that. Like
Wow.
I'm gonna do something like that. And then I got the privilege to meet Shan, and
Yeah.
she was somebody I've never met anybody like that.
Yeah.
She was just so like forward and honest and
Confident.
educated.
Confident.
Yeah. And it was like the coolest, one of my like favorite like brand deals that I ever like got the opportunity to work
Yeah.
on.
It was a life-changing opportunity for me. Genuinely life-changing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And it was such a cool opportunity to work with you. You had this massive audience, and then you brought such an ease and a comfort to it. But at the time that brand deal came in, because I'm from Canada, I was like on the fritz of deportation because
Wow.
my visa had run up. I had just gotten like a massive bed bug infestation on my studio Hollywood apartment, and I had to throw all the furniture away.
I remember you
couldn't
telling me this.
afford to
Yeah.
really
No
buy anything
way.
else, and so I was like, I think I'm gonna go back home. And lo and behold, this brand deal came in, and it was to apply for a green card cost $10,000, which I didn't have. And then I had to get a new apartment because I couldn't live there anymore, and I had to buy furniture. And this deal came in at $40,000, which was like almost exactly what I needed to like get a fresh start and start again.
Wow.
And since then, I haven't looked back. So it was huge for me. So you will
No
forever be a huge part of my
way.
story.
Come on.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's like
really
the closest
cool.
thing I've experienced to a miracle.
Wow.
I think that's fair
Just
to
like
say.
perfect timing.
Just perfect timing, perfect
Yeah.
amount, and it changed my life. So
Wow.
at the time that I really needed it.
And for you, I mean, this is the kind of content you were creating,
Yes,
right? Yeah, you
exactly.
were already making content like this. Were you already considered like an educator, an expert in this
Yeah, my
field?
first book came out in 2009.
Oh, wow.
So that was 2014. So I'd
Yeah.
already been active in the
No
space
way.
for 5 years. I was a certified sexologist at the time in America. Then I was a certified sex educator in Canada, where I'm from. And I'd been doing the work, and I had a YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
magically kind of clicked at that moment.
Straight out of high school, this is something that you've always wanted to pursue, like
Yeah.
sex.
To be
you said-
very honest with you, straight out the womb.
No
Damn.
way.
And it was like
First word, sex.
It was just something that I
Almost
always
close to yours for first words.
Which was?
Chi-chis?
Okay.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah.
What? That you know that
just-
about him?
Yeah.
Well, we know everything about each other.
Right.
What's his first word?
His?
Yeah. Remember I told you?
His?
You did tell me.
Yeah.
It was
Remember?
beepies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was banana.
Was it banana?
It was. I think it was Nana.
That's
Yeah.
so cute.
Which maybe, hey. Maybe there's something to it.
Yeah. Cool. So you always wanted how cool.
Yeah, I think I was just naturally drawn to intimacy. I was naturally drawn to the human body, but I think in an age appropriate way. I remember
Interesting.
being very young and like liking to see my grandma naked. Not because it was a sexual way,
But you're intrigued.
but just I felt close to her. It was like a layer of intimacy. By the time I was 7, I was like addicted to soap operas. I just like loved it. And then my Barbies were always naked. Just always having a time.
Yeah.
And then naturally, I think if you see your kid, you know, being drawn towards the piano, you nurture that. If you see your kids being drawn towards this, you stomp on it aggressively with boots. So my parents stomped that out of me. And, you know, it was, you know, for their own protection. And of course, they were just concerned with a kid who had this interest. And when I became a teenager and the hormones kicked in, and boy, my hormones kicked. I had this interest with this natural intrigue, with this knowledge that if I acted on it or talked about it, it would upset my parents. I also grew up Catholic, so it would upset the system there. So I started looking for any way that I could engage with sex that was secretive. So I watched tons of porn. I read lots of fiction books. I watched movies. And I was like, okay, this is what sex is. And of course, when I came of age and started applying the lessons that I learned, it resulted in like a very negative experience. So when I turned 19 and fresh out of high school, I was like, look, I've had 7 partners, no orgasms. I feel less good about myself, less connected to my body. I don't know anything about what I like.
This is a conversation you had with yourself?
With myself. And so I was like, either 2 things are happening. Either the church was right, my parents were right, and this is a very negative thing, or I have bad information and I could go about this a very different way. So I kind of bet on the latter. I got myself a library card and I just spent the entire summer reading all of the traditional, boring Kinsey sex ed textbooks. And I was like, wow, there's great information in here, but sex ed is bad sex. It's faceless, monotonous, it's dry, it's boring, it's dull. Like, I was like, you know, when I was watching porn, it was a lot easier to learn.
Yeah.
You know, you're immersed in a storyline. You're seeing sexy people or even movies. So the thought came to me of like, someone should make sex ed sexy. And that was when I was 19.
Wow. What was like your first piece of content to like really showcase making sex?
Was it
sexy?
the book?
It was my book.
Yeah.
But before that, really, I had a website. So I was trying to play both sides. So I
Seeing what
launched,
worked better for you?
well, like trying to appease my parents and also trying to pursue my passion. So I launched a site called SaveYourCherry.com. So this was me trying to be like, I'm telling my story, mom and dad, so other people won't do it. But again, I was like, I don't want to tell sex stories that don't have what I loved about porn or what I loved about fiction books. So my story of my first time, which I shared it like in detail. And it's very interesting because my first sexual experience, I labeled it as negative for a while. And then now I'm like, no, that was rad.
Yeah.
I had a really cool first sexual experience. So I told that story in detail on a website. I published it. My parents went on vacation.
Yeah.
I just sent them the link and I was like, this is what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to collect other stories from other people for educational purposes.
Right.
But they're going to be interesting. They're going to be intriguing. They're going to be sexy. And my mom came back and screamed at me and was just like,
Oh, she was pissed.
oh, she was very pissed.
Wow.
That 24-hour drive back from Florida did not cool them off. I thought it would be like,
They drove?
yeah, they drove back.
Damn.
But I just stuck with it. And so
Yeah,
here
yeah.
I am now. I'm
Wow.
40 years old. I've still been doing this entire time.
Shit, you're not 40.
What?
I am.
What?
Wow,
Yes.
I thought I was older than you.
Yeah.
You look great.
You look
great.
incredible.
I know how old you are.
Yeah.
How old
Yeah?
is he? How do you don't you
35?
35.
35.
Yeah.
He just turned 35 December 27th. I got him 2 gifts.
Where did you get him?
What did I get you, Josh?
He bought me it was like a Tesla model espresso maker coffee thing.
Yeah.
It's insane, like incredible to make espresso shots and coffees and stuff like that.
Like,
It's
hey Siri,
I have,
make
my
me a
own-
coffee, and then you just hear the kitchen like pouring.
I have like my own Starbucks at my crib.
Are you still partnered?
With
Me.
Romantic partner?
Oh yeah,
Lover.
yes.
Does your lover ever feel like competitive because like did your lover give you a better gift for your birthday? Like your
Oh, like competitive with his
Yes.
friends?
I don't think so. But
Nah,
that's
Mo's not like that,
No,
huh?
Mo's not like that.
Nah.
Plus, I've known him
Oh,
longer.
I don't know.
Yeah, like,
Is she?
I don't
well,
think
who
so.
gave a better 35th birthday
Dang,
gift?
that's a tough question, Josh. Because remember, I gave you 2, and when I say 2, it's not because I love you 2. It's
Yeah.
because it's Christmas and your fucking birthday.
All of a sudden.
And he
All of a sudden.
every year, and I gotta wrap it differently and shit too. One
Yeah.
has Santa Claus and reindeers, And the other one, just traditional fucking buy Gelson's wrapping paper or type shit, you know?
Okay. I don't know why these details matter to me, but thank you for sharing.
I'm very detailed.
Okay, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question, though.
That is a very good question. Mo's gonna kill me, bro, because you asked me to remind you what gift that you got me for Christmas and my birthday. Almost every other episode, I can't remember what Mo got me for my 35th birthday, bro. I can't remember.
I think she gave you an experience, a sexual one.
Well, that's every night, baby. So it
Yeah.
is my birthday,
No, but
guess.
I got him that. Why are we talking about gifts right now?
I don't know. I don't know how we got here.
Yeah. So why are we talking about gifts?
Well, because I said, I don't know why you brought up the Tesla gift.
Yeah.
And then I said, wow, that's a very generous gift. And then just the intimacy between the two of you guys is so reminiscent of being around a couple.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a beautiful thing to have that in a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a friend like that? Do you have like a
My
best
sister.
friend? Oh, okay.
Which is
I love
like kind
that.
of a cheat answer, I think.
I don't think so. No, I don't feel like everybody has that kind of relationship with their siblings, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's a complete opposite of a cheat answer.
No, my sister is like the closest thing to Jesus Christ to me. She's like
Really?
a perfect human being.
You know what's funny? I feel the exact same way about my brother. I always talk about him in like that light of like, I feel like he's like an angel set from
Yeah.
heaven.
He
and
is.
Like, and I've
He
seen
is.
him in like moments where he's not around people, where he doesn't need to like act in any certain way or impress people in any way.
Yeah.
And I just hear him talk like genuinely and authentically. And I'm like, bro, who are you?
Yeah.
How is
Yes.
this like your heart and mind? Like, how are you this beautiful of a
Yeah.
human?
I know why we were talking about gifts, by the way. He guessed his age, and then that reminded
That's
me of
right.
his fucking birthday.
We're having a moment about his brother right now, okay? A
You're
touching
right.
moment about his brother.
You're
I
right.
was
Yeah.
actually
You're
tearing
right.
up listening to it. And here you go.
Fuck Marky, bro. Fuck Marky, son of a bitch. If you're watching this. No, yeah, he's a great guy. If you meet his brother, all you want to do is just hug him.
Yeah.
But you're only going to wrap your arms around his thighs. He's huge.
He's huge. He's 6'4", like, you know,
You think-
280.
like
he's massive.
Like
He's
this
a
guy's big,
dude.
you know?
Yeah,
And his
yeah.
little brother's even bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, good guy. Very sweet angel. I couldn't say that about my own brother. My brother's a fucking Harley Davidson, tatted up guy, doesn't give a fuck.
Do you love him?
I love him to death.
Yeah?
We
Yeah,
just
he
ran a
does.
half marathon yesterday. And we finished held hands and we crossed. You want something to cry about? Look, we held hands. Just real quick, we did the half marathon yesterday in Newport. And so I was just telling Jessica, I was like, either I was going to run it by myself and I'm like, or I run it with my brother who's a little slower than me, but he killed it. And I was like, well, I'll just stay with him because, dude, my mom's going to see us. And like, what'll really, really like, you know, make her cry probably is just if me and him are together and we cross the finish line and I want that picture. So I decided, let me run with him. It was a great experience. Yeah. Great guy.
A little slower than you, but
A little slower than me. Yeah. But we did it.
yeah.
Yeah. It was
That's
a great
really
experience.
beautiful.
Yeah. No, I love my brother. I love all my siblings.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. Is it just you and your sister?
Yeah, just me and my sister.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what did she do something completely different than you?
Kind of, sort of, not really. Sort of, yeah. She's an executive coach. So
Oh, wow.
she travels and goes to corporate companies and
Yeah.
helps to facilitate retreats to
Wow.
help grow leaders, and then does one-on-ones for that too.
Really?
But she's also just about maximizing human performance. So we're both really
What?
into psychology, really into
Dang, imagine having
The
dinner
mind.
with both of you guys.
It's pretty rad. My sister, we went on a walk this weekend. It was like the best. She's the best. I have a really amazing sister who happens to be my best friend.
Is she older, younger?
She's older, but here's the kicker. This is like, we should just focus on the topic because
Okay.
maybe I ran into this problem too on Tim's
But
podcast.
this is La Plática. Like,
We'll
this
talk
is how
about
we do
things
it.
that are interesting to us because we're friends.
That's a good point.
But they'd like to hear about Trojan condoms.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I
But
could-
I do want to hear what you were going to say.
Do you want to hear the touching story?
Just hear the touching
Yes.
story.
All right. So my firstborn daughter was intentional, right?
Okay.
Like myself and my husband really thought about it, and we had to work, which I love that because I didn't know if I wanted kids. So it actually occurred to me one day on my 34th birthday, not on my birthday, but I was 34 years old. We were in the house together, and I was like, yo, our life is so great. We should share this. And that was the first time I had that like desire for kids. And so I thought, because I've spent my whole life with Trojan condoms and trying to abstain from not have a kid, that as soon as I thought I was ready to have kids,
I
I'd
was
just
going
be
to
pregnant
happen.
that afternoon.
First pop.
Lo and behold, it took us 6 months, but that was so positive for me because it really allowed me to choose it every single time and know that I really wanted it. So our firstborn was like extremely intentionally conceived. Second was a total mistake. And like not ready, not the time, and at the end of the day, I'm a sex educator. I know how
Right.
this works.
About to
So
say.
I like to think at the end of the day that there had to be a part of me that wanted another kid.
Yeah.
But it was hard for me because
Yeah.
it happened. We got pregnant with my second born on my firstborn's first birthday. So I just didn't really
Wow.
have any time to kind of, get
Yeah,
settled in
acclimate.
it. And as a working mom, you're already stretched so thin. I was still working full time and it was just a lot. So I have resented that baby. I was like, I didn't ask for you. And I felt sick that whole pregnancy. It was just like a really hard time. Fast forward, I'm giving birth and Jared was on tour. So he was supposed to come back in time. But long story short, the doctor in the morning, when I was like, hey, I think I'm going into labor. I have to know now though, because my husband has to fly back in time. The doctor who checked me was like, you might be going into labor or you might just have a wide vagina from your first birth. So I don't think you're going in labor. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I'm feeling these things. I'm feeling this pressure. He's like, yeah, I think you should have a wide vagina.
He said that?
Yeah, he did.
That's the way he just talked to you?
Yes, he really did. And he was so hot too.
So how did I want to ask how you felt about that?
I was, well, what am I supposed to say? I'm like, that's what it is.
But is that like the medical
I don't
term?
know
Like,
why that happened,
got-
but nonetheless, I was in labor.
He was
but
so
because
hot.
of that guy, I didn't have the time. Jared didn't have the time to fly back.
Yeah.
So we ended up, and I wasn't going back to the hospital because I was embarrassed. So I was waiting until I was basically like, that baby was coming out of me. My sister was like, we have to go to the hospital. So I was like, cool. So by the time we actually confirmed I was in labor, it was too late for him to come back. So my sister ends up being the one to give birth with me. And we were just giggling, like cackling, having the best time together. And again, this whole pregnancy, I was like unsure of how I felt about the second baby. And then my sister said to me kind of like mid-laugh, like, imagine your firstborn, who's Ryu. She
I
could
love
be
that
doing
name.
this with Zaya, which is my secondborn.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah, like that's the
That's
gift.
everything.
That's everything.
That's the whole point.
Wow.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It's funny how you start looking at life so differently the older you get, honestly. And like I never really had like thoughts about having kids until recently, bro, honestly. Like just kind of what you said, like your first child, his name's Ryu.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just look at it and like recently I'm just like, man, like low key, I'm like, man, fuck my friends, you know? Because like, I'm like, I'm over, not just like my friends, but like I'm over everybody. I want something new in my life.
Yeah.
And what that new is, I don't know, but like I just think about kids so much now where I'm like, I need to share my life.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sharing it with everybody, but like I should share it with really the only people that should matter, which would be my kids, right?
It's the ultimate share.
And like I do so many things that are cool sometimes, and like, and when I say fuck my friends, I hope that you guys met. I meant that like.
No, I was offended.
I'm kind of like over everything that's going on in my life. Not necessarily that, but like I want something new.
Yes.
You know what I
yes.
mean? And I want to share it with somebody who I'm gonna care about so much, more than anything.
Yeah.
And like I look at so many things that we do, and I'm like, God, I can't wait to have a kid so they can like see me and see us and the things that their mother does and stuff like that. So I started thinking like that now. It's crazy.
Do you have someone you want to have kids with?
I'm married. Yeah, of course.
So,
I know.
what's up?
I know.
Whip off that Durex. Get it popping.
Not the accent. She said Durex.
Throw that Durex away, baby.
Yeah, no, I don't use condoms. No.
Yeah. His wife is like, she's busy and she's on this mission right now. And I don't mean to speak for your wife,
Yeah,
but like,
thank you.
she's running like marathons, right? She's like a full blown like pro athlete. So I think like she's been focused. This has been her new thing that she's been putting her all into. And I think you're trying to get that new thing for you guys to align on the new thing together.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And you know what? Even she says it like, you know, me running it shouldn't be an excuse. You know, I can get pregnant, I will bounce back, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, it's the commitment. It's a big thing, but you know, they say, are you ready? I don't think anybody's ever that ready, right? It's just doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And time's ticking for me too. You know, I don't want to be like the older dad, you know, I still want to roll with the punches, which I'm sure I will. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking like that too.
I listened to this Jordan Peterson interview, which this is a secret. I listen to Jordan Peterson sometimes.
I do too.
I know.
I've been listening to him for years. So
And
I've
get
seen
me
his
wrong.
arc as a person. It's interesting.
Who's
There's
Jordan Peterson
sometimes-
again?
He's a psychologist from Canada who's actually been, I think he's been like disbarred from psychology.
Can I see his face real
I
quick?
started listening to him when he would just do his videos like when he was just lecturing in class.
See, he got some bangers points, but then he just says stuff.
That's-
You're like,
yeah.
you don't need to have an opinion
Jordan.
on everything.
Yeah.
But
Jordan
he-
Peterson.
I know who he is, right?
100%. You've seen him like, bro, he has clips everywhere, all over the internet.
Oh, the guy on the left.
Yeah.
No, he's all about
Oh yeah. I seen him. Yeah.
His perspective on parenting, I actually do enjoy. But he said this thing that stuck with me, that the real truth is, it's like a university degree. It's 4 years of complete devotion. Some people enjoy that. There are people who look forward to having somebody need them hand and foot. I have a full ass life. We said we wouldn't talk about this, but I did not enjoy the 4 years. It's a lot of work, but having it in the back of my mind that it really is just 4 years. Then they become more autonomous. They have their own hobbies. They go to school. They have friends. They have extracurriculars. Like you get your life back in like increments. So it's not,
Wow.
20 years
Yeah.
of that like
devotion,
kind of
full
sacrifice.
dedicated, submerged in that parenting role.
Yeah. So if you've got kind of 4 years to say, like, we're going to be in it for 4 years, and then we're going to find ourselves back. Like my kids are now 2 and 4, and I feel like now I'm starting to get these pockets of time. Like a weekend ago, we watched our own movie.
What do you mean?
Like me and Jared watched a movie,
Yeah.
and they watched a movie.
Oh, whoa.
Like I didn't have
that's
to.
kinda crazy,
You know what I
right?
mean?
Yeah.
Like
They're
you
doing
guys
their thing,
do
I'm
your
doing my
thing.
thing.
We're gonna watch Magazine Dreams,
Yeah,
and they'll
yeah.
pop in and they'll be like, "This movie's not." I was bawling in that movie too. You guys should watch it. It's so damn good.
Magazine Dreams.
Yeah, it's Jonathan Majors.
Mm.
I'm just talking about all the cancelable people. But it's such a good movie. So, anyways, that to be said, for your wife who is very, has a lot, and you want to pick it because it's such a time commitment. You want to do it because you really wanted to do it. So the feeling you have, I would definitely wait till your partner has that too. And then also that encouragement of it's not the end. And it's not the end even for 20 years or, 30 years of your life. It might just be like 5 really hard ones, and then you start to find your way back to you.
Yeah.
I like how Shan said what I said, but she said it so eloquently and beautifully. I was like, you have a new thing, and she's gonna want to have it.
Yeah.
You guys need to meet on the new thing that you guys want to have, which is a baby.
Yeah.
Like, but you guys have to be aligned in that. Like, it's for it to like, I don't know. I don't want to say work out because it'll work out, but
Yeah.
You'll never be completely aligned.
Yeah.
Like I was
Yeah.
ready before Jared was ready.
Okay.
But Jared's 6 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So he probably could have waited 2 or 3 more years. But
Yeah.
we had conversations about it, and we both agreed like we could do this now.
I saw a clip of Shan literally because I was just like doing some research on you. So Jared is her husband. Well, I met Jared when they were just dating, right?
Just fucking.
Just fucking. And she's
Interesting.
very open about this. Like she's talked about how when they first
Is there a
met,
difference
they
between
were,
fucking and
They were
dating?
just fuck
Heck
buddies.
yeah.
And this is what I'm going to get into. It's a good question. So no, it's a phenomenal question. They were literally just
fucking.
just fuck buddies, bro. But that they were mature enough to be able to have that kind of conversation
It's so funny.
and agree with that. Like that was going to be their role, right? Correct?
Yes.
And you ended up learning, and this is from the clip, so feel free to like interject if I'm wrong. That there's a dopamine that's released when you have sex and then you cuddle.
Yes.
There's a higher dopamine that gets released when you cuddle, which can get people to become attached, right? So what you started doing was you guys would just fuck, right? And then you'd go to somebody else's house
And
to
cuddle.
cuddle.
Yeah.
And I was so like mind blown by that because I was like, that is so crazy.
Yes.
And did he know that?
Yeah. I don't know if he knew. Jared is not jealous or concerned about me at all, even to this day, and wasn't back then either. So I don't know if he ever explicitly asked. He knew I was seeing other people.
Yeah.
But it's oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone.
Sorry, yeah.
I didn't want to be a dick and correct
No,
you, but just for
thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
What did I say? Dopamine?
Yeah, but you're right. It's a neurotransmitter.
Okay.
But yes, oxytocin is like the bonding hormone or the cuddle hormone, and it's released after orgasm and in the highest amounts during post-sex cuddling. Also released during breastfeeding and stuff to create that bond. So
So there's a higher amount released in the cuddle part
in the
of it.
cuddle part.
Wow.
So if you can get out of there, and so I wanted to cuddle somebody.
Yeah.
So I just used to have a specific buddy. And not only that, I would cuddle him, I would sleep over, I'd walk his dog. Like we had a very different dynamic that was really rich. We
You
just
guys
didn't have
never
sex.
hooked up? Wow.
No, yeah, we didn't.
Was that like something you guys agreed on? Or was it
Me
just
and this guy, I don't think I explicitly said. I probably did manage expectations of like, this is
Yeah.
not going to be a sexual relation. We still made out. You know, I
Yeah.
still like thought he was so hot. He was a model.
Wow.
Kind of dumb, but
Yeah.
I like how she was kind of getting lost in it.
But imagine like you were that guy and you're like, I'm just the cuddle one.
the cuddle
But I
buddy.
thought it was better. I spent more time with him. Like he had a business. We would spend more intimate time together.
Yeah.
So to me, the cuddle buddy got a better version of me. I just didn't necessarily think we would have great sex. I just knew that wasn't going to happen. But with Jared, I didn't really give him that, intimate time that you get when you're just talking about life and
At all.
sharing ideas.
You guys didn't go deep.
That's why I say too, we
With
weren't
Jared.
even friends with benefits in the beginning because we weren't even friends. We just started off because there was such great sexual chemistry. And again, I was like near deportation. I wasn't sure if I would be in the country much longer. Definitely, I couldn't even work legally at the time. So I was like, I can't get in a relationship. I was actually auditioning dudes to see who I could have a sexual relationship
What does that
with.
look like? Just like
Inviting them over, wearing track pants and a sports bra, playing Beyonce, making out, seeing if there was a vibe.
wow,
Going for dinner at
cutting
Tender
them
Greens.
off. Wow.
Yeah.
Tender greens.
It was a
Tender
good-
greens,
Harvest
huh?
salads goes
Tender Greens is
crazy.
a very clutch date spot.
Yeah.
Because you pay up front. So if I'm not feeling the connection, I can just leave any
Yeah.
time. And it was cheap meal. I always paid for myself, so there was no investment or feeling like I owed this person my time.
Yeah.
That was my date spot.
Interesting.
We're gonna get more into that right now, real quick. But let's go on a short little
do it,
break.
yeah.
We're already at our 30-minute bar. It's commercial time. I'm so interested in the way that you speak as well, and you're right. She says things way more elegant than you, and I love that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked her to be on the podcast. That's okay.
We'll be right back. And we're back. Wow. I feel so relaxed right now. What about you guys?
I feel
great.
energized and focused.
Why is that?
I don't know. This drink that you guys gave me when I first came in.
Come on, girl.
It's very tasty.
This is a little.
And
dirty
I
drink.
feel like I'm feeling like heightened cognitive abilities.
Come on, girl.
Yeah. What is it?
I believe the brand is called Taste Salud. Just
Isn't that yours?
Yeah.
is it?
It really is.
Wow. This is
Yeah.
great.
This is your first time trying it.
This is my first time
Really?
trying it.
I'm so mad about that.
You don't send her
I know.
stuff?
No, and she hit me up like a year ago, 2 years ago, when you saw me doing the brand, and like you wanted to go to dinner to talk about it, and we never got to make it happen.
I did want to
I
ask you
know.
about this.
Yeah, well, we'll make that happen. And
Okay,
and
I
now
would
you're
love that.
you're officially on our PR list. So every new flavor you're gonna.
I'm
be
gonna
stocked up on.
buy. I am a very big supporting friend.
Yeah.
You seem like it.
Yeah, and also because I give my dollars right now to Liquid IV.
Yeah, that's
and
bullshit.
I spend because the sticks are about $2 a stick, right?
Yeah, give
Like
or
it
take.
breaks down
yeah.
to?
Do you buy my Costco like in bulk or like
Yeah, we buy in bulk. Like when
Okay.
I buy from Liquid IV, I'm spending $600, $700.
a month or like a year?
Whenever we end up buying.
What?
Like we live off of those things.
You're drinking them every day.
My kids, they call it flavor addicted, and they can't. Everything needs flavor. Where's the
Wow.
flavor?
Yeah,
this
yeah,
needs
yeah.
flavor.
I love that. Yeah, everything
Yeah.
should have flavor.
And
Yeah.
it's actually a flex. Yours is colored, but
Yeah.
Liquid IV is white. So,
Right, it's dull.
But
It's
it
boring.
makes it look like you're drinking water.
Yeah.
So even like people are really impressing my kids because they'll be
Like,
drinking.
he's drinking- that's a lot of water.
A lot of
he's
water.
drinking.
Yeah. It's got a little flavor.
well,
in it.
hopefully he can convert you into a Salude.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Are some
yeah.
of them white?
None of them.
You should.
We have a horchata flavor that's kind of on the whiter side, but it's not clear. It doesn't
Okay.
look like water.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have to be white?
Well,
It's good for the posers.
You mean clear?
Clear.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Because white, just give you a gallon of milk.
right. Exactly. Or it looks like Gatorade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Clear looks like, oh, wow, that's a lot of water you're drinking.
I feel like your kids are gonna love my product more than Liquid IV. I can
Okay.
almost bet like the house. On
And
it.
it's healthier. There's a lot of sugar in liquid IV.
11 grams.
Are you a betting man?
What's
When
that?
it comes to my brand, yeah.
Do you want to
I
bet?
bet it all on the line.
Do you want to bet $500?
Sure.
I'll do a taste test when I go home.
Okay.
And I'll send you the video.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, I love
We're gonna
that.
do a taste test. You're gonna pick their favorite Liquid IV flavor,
Yes.
and I'm gonna pick my favorite Taste Salud flavor that I know will win their hearts and souls.
I will get, okay, let's do
Hearts
it.
and souls. $500. And well, yes, and we got it on camera, so I'll make a whole
So
video.
do
out
I
of this.
lose $500 if my kids like your stuff?
Yeah.
I'm betting against you.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Can
This
I
is
post
your
my-
idea.
I want to bet too.
Do you want to bet?
Yeah.
You can split it with me.
I'll split it with him. Is that me betting though?
Well, I want to split it with me because I don't want to spend $500.
No, but
You came up
Bet
with the
against your
number.
friend.
but I believe in him though. You know. All right.
Okay, you know what? Easily, I will buy $500 worth of product for sure. I'm not giving you $500 just in your pocket.
Fair.
I'm gonna
Oh, okay, I
buy
like that.
$500.
Okay,
yes.
bet.
You will give me $500 so
Money.
if they don't like
Let's do it. Let's
You should do it where they kind of like they hide the drinks behind the cardboard box
Yes.
and the straws go up. You seen that?
Or you just give them colored cups where they can't see inside.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a production.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna,
that's
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. What is their favorite like flavor?
I'm gonna say they have a sorbet one.
Okay.
I'm very unconfident saying that
Yeah,
word.
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
sherbet?
I say sorbet.
Okay.
I
they
say
have-
sherbet.
I say sherbet too.
Yeah. Why is that? Is that our family that
I don't
said
know.
that?
Yeah, sherbet is how I grew up.
Yeah,
but
me
sorbet
too.
is
The sorbet just hits better though. This sounds like more.
But there's an H
where?
in sorbet, isn't there?
no.
I don't think so, bro.
Do you
No?
guys say clitoris or clitoris?
Clitoris.
Clitoris?
Yeah, you could say clitoris.
Feels like a dinosaur.
Clitoris?
It's like a dinosaur, bro.
No.
That clitoris is extinct, bro. There's no way.
sorbet.
There's no H, bro. Where did you get the H from?
Oh, I thought there was.
One is dairy free, one is dairy based. I mean, that's
Yeah,
huge
I definitely
already.
grew up off that dairy, so I got the sherbet.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
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 Favorite ice cream at Rite Aid? Go. Thrifties.
Barley butter pecan.
Butter pecan? Great fucking answer.
I don't really like ice cream.
Or sherbet.
I guess
really
like
like
sorbet.
that's my kid's favorite. I'm not very much into frozen treats
Really?
because my mouth gets cold and then I'm not tasting it and I'm just getting the calories. So it's like I don't really get the point. I didn't even like ice cream cake growing up.
So what's your fix?
Wow.
Regular cake, chocolate,
Do you have to have a glass of milk?
this drink now.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. So going back to the topic, I wanted to ask you this that we have up on the board. It says, do you believe in sexual healing? Can good sex actually fix relationship issues? Or is that a trap?
I think that sex can provide an opportunity for intimacy, which then can provide opportunity for other opportunities of healing. So it can be what brings you together. It can be, and it also can be a place. I talk about great sex. I think to me, the goal of good sex is freedom. I don't necessarily think it's pleasure. I don't necessarily think it's orgasm. It's a place to delight in the human experience and to be completely free of societal expectations, of your thoughts on purity, and also to be free to say no. Like when you genuinely feel like you can bring your humanity to it and just delight in that, that's to me is what great sex is. So I think for many people, we don't have opportunities to be genuinely free anywhere else. So if you have the kind of relationship where you could actually bear it all with your partner and play with the taboo, play with thoughts you've had before or concepts you're still mulling over, explore parts of your body. And if sex is that for you, I do think that you can take that outside. But I think that most people probably need to do that work first
Right.
and then bring it to sex versus the other way around.
You reminded me of something, and I don't remember how we got into this conversation, or maybe I heard it from a podcast that you did, but you were talking about, I want to say it was Jared, and something that you like admired and really enjoyed about having sex with Jared was that he was so free when he would have sex with you,
Yes.
and like he would just like almost release these sounds that were like unhuman almost, but you just felt that made you feel liberated because you were just like, there was no bound, like everything goes, and we're just here and we're just experiencing this. And I think that's kind of what you're referring to, right?
Yes.
Is that a true story? Did we?
Yeah.
How do I know
The way
that?
that I knew, when I was auditioning people, kind of like just not. I'm using a funny term. When I was just like looking for a sexual partner, the way that I knew it was going to be Jared is because we were fooling around, and then I looked at his face, and it was like a painter who was just doing his thing on the canvas, like intuitively, not. And most people have a very sort of performative way of going about sex. But when you're authentically present, it's different every time because I'm responding to your smell that day. I'm responding to the atmosphere. I'm thinking about my own temperature. Like it's going to feel like a very unique experience that moment. And when I looked at his face, it was like he's genuinely experiencing this moment and intuitively experiencing my body as it is today.
Wow.
And so that was like, wow, like I want more of this. So I feel like that's something that the gift that he came with that actually provided a lot of freedom for me. Before him, I still was hanging on to faking a little bit, still maybe in many
Performative, a
ways,
little, yeah.
performative.
Yeah.
Yeah. But being able to bring, we bring all parts of ourselves, make all kinds of sounds. We explore all kinds of things. And role play is even a big fun part of that too, of thinking about yourself as an outer body experience,
Yeah.
So I think that's.
How does one learn to do that?
Yeah.
How do you learn how to like relinquish that?
I think it's about asking yourself a really important question. So I have a quiz on my website. It's called How to Have Better Sex, but it's also acknowledging what you need right now because some people need freedom too. Like you just want to have sex with who you want to have sex with, explore how you want to explore, try a new kink, try a new fantasy. Like that's what you want to do. You are in your expansive explorative phase. Some people before they get to that need freedom from, especially I think a lot of men have this where there's all these ideals around what it takes to be masculine, what it takes to be heterosexual. And so when you're having sex, you can't be authentic because you're stuck between a rock and a hard place trying to like walk on this tight rope. So what you would require is sort of freedom from all of the tropes and societal expectations to really let yourself be. Or women, freedom from purity culture, the idea that good girls don't, or a wife would never do this. So it's about kind of where you're at. And some people are at the freedom not to phase, where they just need the space to be like, I know that this is what you want, but this is a boundary for me. I don't want to do this, or I want to abstain altogether. So it's kind of just acknowledging which of those you need to focus on right now, and then starting with that. I think anything in life, when you like have these really big, huge goals, it feels impossible. So you have to break it down into the small next step that you require.
Yeah.
Like I think right now I'm coming out of my freedom from stage, because for a little bit after having kids, there was this like, am I supposed to have sex differently? Or there was a mix of trying to compete with my pre-baby self and also trying to fit the ideal of what like a mother would be like in the bedroom. And then I had to be like, fuck all that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What is it that I really want to do? Like what feels good for me? And like, how do I take parts of my old self and then also incorporate some new things and then be authentic to who I am to actually have great sex? So I feel like I kind of went through a phase of not having great sex. And then now I've sort of had to really think about it. And it takes a while. It's not an automatic thing.
So when you're like processing all of this, are you doing this like on your own? And then there's a moment where you like open up and you talk to your husband about it? Like how do you work through that?
Kind of mix of both. I think you're like talking about it as you go, which is exciting.
And talking.
Yeah,
that's
like,
really cool.
This is what I'm experiencing. But sometimes you don't even know what you're going through or experiencing. And it takes a while. I actually have a class on masterclass. So that was huge for me.
No way.
And this was really great for Jared and I too, because it just allowed so much conversation around sex. Like one of the most freeing things that I want to share with you guys, because I want to get your reflection on this, is the idea of like centering the erection in sex. And so we were reading, of course, a lot about foreplay. There's a huge section on foreplay. And I kind of came across this guy who was just saying like, hey, like if you're having foreplay with your partner and they get soft, don't panic. Doesn't mean you're not doing something good.
Right.
Yeah.
And if foreplay is supposed to last 40 minutes, an hour, it's natural you're going to get hard, then soft.
That's the average time it's supposed to last?
Well,
Shit.
I mean, let's say 12 to 20 minutes
Okay.
is good, but I think people benefit from 40 minutes.
Wow. Like really letting the oven heat up.
But if it's like more than just, if it's not making out for 40 minutes,
Right. Yeah,
If you're like telling each other sexy stories, giving each other full body massages,
okay. That's
playing
kinda,
with food,
okay, I got you.
You know, watching a video.
Yeah.
So again, sort of not making like the whole experience like erection focused. Like it's a sexual, sensual experience in which we're connecting intimately. And in that time, bodies can get hard and soft and wet and dry, and all of that is good. And if we're just here for the journey, then nobody has to feel like they're failing if we're not maintaining a certain look to it.
Wow. That's crazy. Like you speak about that, and I'm like, for me, I have no problem staying like erect.
For 40 minutes?
40
I don't
minutes?
think I would have a problem with that.
And mind you, there's no like penetration going on at this point.
Yeah.
It's just, you just need to be
Rock
solid.
I don't think it'd go down.
okay.
So that's why like people that get soft and stuff, I mean, it starts to get soft after everything, right?
Well, like imagine you and your partner start making out, and then your brain is like, we're about to have sex.
Yeah.
And then it switches to a full body massage. And so they're spending time on your feet, on your ankles.
Still not soft.
Okay.
But what Shannon's trying to say is like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a human
They're just not as good as you.
No,
right?
I'm not saying I'm good.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm good. I'm just saying it's interesting to me
Yes.
that she's saying that you'll go like this. I'm
Ebbs
like,
and
fuck,
flows.
I don't deal with that.
But you know what?
If anything, I would like to kind of calm myself down. I swear.
That's also a gift to have that too. Because
Yeah.
I see one of the questions about sexual compatibility. And I want to say that sometimes to me, couples who start off being sexually incompatible or start with a sexual dysfunction are in a better position than those where everything works according to the script.
Okay.
Because we are all temporarily abled, right? If God willing, we're going to get old, we're going to walk a little funnier. Like things are going to start malfunctioning.
Right.
So being able-bodied is like, it's a rental, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like, my dick always works, it's hard for 40
My dick
minutes.
always hard.
It's always hard whenever I need it. The day that it's not,
Yeah.
it becomes a panic moment because you're not accustomed to that. And if you don't have the culture built in of having these kinds of discussions when things aren't working perfectly, you end up in this like silent shame.
Damn, Shan,
Then your
come on,
partner is
man.
like, oh my God, and they're not attracted to me anymore.
Wow.
And then you're like, come on, buddy, what's going on? You start to
Right.
hyper stress on it. That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because the more you stress, the harder it is to get erect. And then,
Crazy.
but if you already are looking forward to it, then you're ahead of the game.
Which is kind of crazy.
I'm not looking forward
Can't
to
wait.
it, but like,
Can't wait.
you
I
know,
can't wait
you
till
know
my
what I
dick
mean?
softens up.
No, it's not. It's not really about that. It's just more kind of like sometimes when I'm in it as well. It's just like I love the foreplay. I love everything.
Yeah.
But like it's just for me, it's just so much like I guess excitement or like blah blah blah. That it's just like let's just do it already. You know what I mean? But it's almost like I want to challenge myself to go 40 minutes foreplay.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Maybe do that and report back. You know, just like try something that's a little bit more ebby and flowy and then see. I'd love to know.
Yeah.
And 40 minutes is not a long time to
It's
stay.
not. Yeah. It's not crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But it is interesting to be able to stay in that mindset because you can have sexual and sensual experiences that aren't necessarily orgasmic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not focused on your genitals at all, but your brain is just mentally staying
Yeah.
in the act
Stimulated.
of,
Yeah.
it's interesting too.
That's really cool that Jared is open to like hear like your thoughts on maybe something new or because not a lot of guys are like that.
Or she wouldn't have married him.
I wouldn't have married him.
Yeah, but that's really cool that he's like that. And if you have a partner, whether it be male or female, that's open to these conversations, like, yo, I was thinking about doing this, or like fantasies, or like, you know, some kinky stuff that you want to try doing. Sometimes, you know, a lot of people, they speak with their partner and they're like, ew, stop, you're being weird, right? And I think that's when you shut it all down. I think that's really like, I think the least thing you can do is just hear it out, you know?
For sure. But you can't even blame your partner if they are shutting it down because you don't know what kind of like trauma or how their upbringing was. Like maybe they do want to talk about it, but just don't know how.
Yeah.
And they're just so used to shutting it down naturally that they just don't even know how to get there.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, she talks about her partner and stuff. And I'm like, that's really cool that you guys are that open to speak about things that are kind of taboo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So that's amazing.
Well, taboo is like,
Taboo is...
it's the size of this coffee table, right? When we think about the sexual acts that are considered normal, right? And if you're with somebody for like a really long period of time, you run out of space on the coffee table real fast. So that's where I think, again, like when it's a larger exploration of your humanity and it's a larger exploration of each other's senses and of just being connected to each other, that's when sex becomes infinite.
You talked about, and I remember that you would mention how, were you and Jared ever in an open relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys went from fuck buddies to, what was that? What did that look like?
Because it was basically like that. We started off as fuck buddies, then we became friends. So we became friends with benefits. I almost get mad sometimes that we ended up getting married because it was such a good success story as that. Like I would have loved for that to have been my fuck buddy experience because it was so just honest and free flowing and real. And it was exactly that. It wasn't a friends with benefits of hopes of trying to be more. It was just exactly that and exactly enough for both of us. I just think that we just got to a place where essentially what happened is Jared's roommate moved a girl in and Jared's like, I got to move somewhere else. And I was like, why don't you stay by me? And then he was like, no. I was like, oh, okay. And the next day he's like, I'm sorry I said no. It's just that I didn't want to make our relationship kind of weird. He's like, but I do need a place to stay for a couple of weeks, you know, while I kind of figure it out. I'm like, cool, just stay on my couch. And so he came and it was like the best.
Wow.
And so he went to go actually get a new apartment, but the person he was moving in with forgot their ID. So he came home really mad, like, this guy's so irresponsible, da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, well, why don't you just stay here? And then he was like, okay. And so at that point, we're like, we can't just be fuck buddies who live together.
Right.
So, but we were still enjoying the freedom of our relationship and sort of just the relaxedness of it. And I think more than anything else, not policing each other because that was never part of the dynamic or the deal. So we're like, well, how do we keep what we have and what we like while also communicating to other people that we have love now and we have a growing commitment? And so open just felt like the best word.
Wow. Yeah.
I still hold on to it. We're not really practicing, but
Yeah.
I love the concept of it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
life is long.
For sure.
And I hope that sometime I end up on some exotic island and invited to some billionaire sex party. And that's something I keep alive, you know?
I'm sure people have told you, like, because you're so open about like your life and your sexual experiences that you have, like just talking about Jared just being a fuck buddy. Did you ever feel like that was dangerous emotionally for like your own like soul and mind? And like, I don't know, like, have you ever struggled with that? Have you ever had people question you when it comes to that?
Ooh, tell me more.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like people have this idea that like sex is like your souls are your soul ties. So like when you're doing that and then you're doing it so strategically where you're just fucking and then you're going to somebody else to get that other endorphin or whatever. I don't know. It just feels dangerous. It just doesn't feel like you're protecting your heart and soul. And maybe I'm wrong, but this is just what I've just heard and gathered.
Yeah. I want you to imagine that you believe that if you stepped on these gold cracks, that you'd have bad luck for the rest of the day. Right? So if you do and you live by that, if you step on that gold crack, you're going to be hyper focusing on your luck for the rest of the day. You're going to notice things that are unlucky for the rest of the day because that's your belief system.
Okay.
So not to say that soul ties, I do not believe soul ties are real.
Okay.
So I step on the gold cracks. I don't think about that shit. I'm not carrying the superstition in my mind, but.
So you think soul ties is just something that people just made
It's
up?
real if you think it's real though.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time in my life where in my teens, especially coming out of that like Catholic Puritan culture, I used to think about my number count every single day. The other day I tried to sit down and think about that shit. I couldn't even remember. I was like, I know I'm missing one of these motherfuckers. I just couldn't remember. But then I have a very interesting conversation with this too, because again, like how many people have given you oral sex, right? You may not know that number. You may not remember all those names.
Right.
Let's go to makeouts. How many people have you made out with? So why is soul ties particularly tied to this? And what if I'm a lesbian and I'm not being penetrated by anybody, but I'm having multiple partners that way? So like what creates a soul tie and like why? So I just think it's important to sort of examine this, but I just want to assert that if you think it's real and you think about it, it's absolutely real. Other than that, then maybe it's real on a subconscious level, but that's just not my experience. I guess I'll find out when I go to the pearly gates if God's like, well, you can't come in because you're tied to these 11 other people.
That's the motherfucker I was missing.
Yeah.
Right there.
These 11 other people are tied to you, and this guy over here robbed a bank. So sorry. Then I'll find out and be like, oh, I guess people were right. But my lived experience is that did not happen. So I didn't operate with that. And I still don't operate with that mindset.
Do you and Jared talk about like the partners that you guys have had in the past? Like, do you guys ask yourself, like, have you guys asked each other, like, how many partners have you had? You guys have?
I care. I don't think Jared cares as much. I don't think my number is 11. I don't think he would know what his number is. For a long time, I thought, because my first experience with him was so authentic. And then when I talked about it afterwards with him, he's like, you know, he comes from a very religious background too. He's like, I've only had 7 sexual partners and I grew up I never watched porn growing up. And I was like, wow. And I like took this information and like ran with it. I was like, he's only had 7 partners. He's really intentional. He's this, he's that. And I feel like when we moved in together, I was like telling friends who were over, I'm like, well, Jared's had less partners than me. So and Jared's like, what are you talking about? I was like, what do you mean you've only had 7? He's like, that was a lie. He was like, why did you believe that? I was just like, he's like, I just threw it a number.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like, I don't know, 50. I can't even tell you how many people.
How'd that make you feel when he said that?
I was like, okay.
Well, shit.
Well, shit. You know, I guess, I mean, that. I also had to think about myself. Like, why did I put so much stock on this like low number? Why did I create this whole character profile? And he was still the same person.
Yeah, you're right.
So like what was...
Whoa, damn.
It's almost like kind of the same thing you're just talking about right now with his question, right?
Yeah.
It's like...
What do you guys feel about soul ties?
I don't know. I think that I believe it. I feel like sex is so like intimate. And then when I have sex, I'm all in, right? So I'm doing the sex, I'm doing the cuddle, I'm doing the intimate talks, no matter what, right? So I feel this like deep connection with them that I don't think that just gets eliminated automatically. And there's nothing that I can walk away and I'll never have any kind of tie to them. Like I don't know. I think I gotta like process it a little bit more. I don't think I've ever like even thought about it myself.
I do also believe like some of us guys where I always say like either you're a Romeo or you're not. You're like born to be a Romeo. Like I feel like me and Josh, I think we grow up and like we really look at maybe women in life in a Romeo and Juliet type of world. Like I've always been in a relationship. Like it's hard for some of us guys to be single. You know what I mean? We like to fantasize on, you know, the sex, the cuddling, the intimacy, believing in love in every single sight. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of guys like that. But then there's other guys that are not like that. And they're not like that. So some of the things that they just really don't care about.
I love that. And keep telling this story because you're right. This story of this kind of man is often missed. I was on a podcast recently, actually, and the girl was like, I just can't see a different reality than all men cheat. She's like, I don't know. And it was interesting because we were sitting there and there were, you know, males sitting on the other side of the camera and we asked them and none of them had cheated. So
And you think they were being honest?
I do. They weren't on camera.
Yeah.
I tend to trust people at face value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that they were. And, hearing from this story from a man who's like, I do take it very seriously.
Yeah.
It is extremely intimate. I do feel like I'm giving a part of myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like that person is keeping a part of me that even if we break up, they'll forever have. Like that's a beautiful story.
For me, it's also like even if you did, or if I did have sex with somebody else, or if I'm having sex with my wife, the whole talking, the whole intimacy, me fantasizing about this love that I have, or even if I just met my wife and the next day I'm just like thinking about her, or like, oh my gosh, she's the one. I feel like it's all part of the world that I want to live in.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like even if it doesn't work out or not, it's the reality that I'm giving myself. It's maybe that will hurt me. Maybe if it didn't work out in the future, it kind of like I fuck my own self because I think that way, but whatever, because that's the way I like to feel.
I love that statement. That's the world that I want to live in.
Yeah.
Well,
I love it.
You have to look at your life and like that forever,
Yes.
not just sex, anything. The way that I live, the way that I look at stuff, it's my reality. Because in reality, we don't know what reality is in a certain way.
No, that makes sense.
Right.
Right? Like my life is my life. I don't know how he thinks and when he wakes up, or maybe
Because the
kinda.
world that I want to live in is afterwards, you guys are like, hey, we have orgies on a Friday. You want to swing by with Jared. These rooms turn into red. Like that's my reality. So there's something about that that's intriguing. Even if I don't come, the idea of that, but the idea that you want a very different, Romeo and Juliet world, I think is beautiful. And we get to live together and have this moment. And if you do want to have an orgy later with your wife, you know where to go. You know who to call.
I take that as a compliment. Speaking about like coming and orgasming, is that a word? Orgasming? Sure.
I'd say
it's
so.
my world, right?
Yeah,
I say whatever the fuck I want.
Run it.
Sometimes a guy feels extremely bad that he orgasms first than the girl, which is completely normal. Is there like some advice we can give guys to not put themselves down because of that? Because I think the majority of guys in the world, I would say 70 to 80%, they come like that.
Yeah.
Is there any tips for them? I'm looking out for my guys.
Yeah,
you know?
the average amount of time is 3 minutes to 12 minutes. And if you think about this from an evolutionary perspective, if we are in our hunter-gatherer days and every person takes 40 minutes to orgasm,
You're going to be dead.
we'd be eaten by a saber-tooth tiger.
Exactly.
Right? It has to be
Or
like
clitosaurus.
if you want a clitosaurus. That was funny.
Imagine what a clitosaurus looks like.
It looks like a wishbone, right? The clitoris looks like this, and it's got these two bulbs there. So it's like that.
It's like
walking
fucking
around.
hunting you down.
Do you know that the clitoris was only anatomically discovered in 2005?
What?
The
What?
penis was discovered in 35 BCE, but it took till 2005 to get an accurate 3D model of the clitoris. So
Why? Because of how complex it is, or just people didn't have interest?
Because men don't care. And men are not interested.
Damn.
They're interested in themselves.
Damn.
So that's why.
Wow.
And
2005?
2005 was
That
the
was
first
2 weeks
time
ago.
that model was introduced to the world.
Do you know that like sometimes I've seen obviously pictures of the clitoris. Doesn't it look like a little pee-pee?
Do you know that that's what it is?
It is, right?
Yeah.
I figured.
Well, you know how that Trump had that rule that you are whatever sex you were at conception, but everybody is first female. So in
interesting.
essence, and which is a very funny science fact, but everyone develops first females, all mammals do. And in essence, this gene that's called SRY, like the sorry gene, turns on if you're a guy. As if the universe is like, sorry, it's a man.
Wow.
So
Oh, shit.
this gene turns on at around like 12 weeks or so. And then that's when your, ovaries would turn into testicles. And then your clitoris then becomes
That
a
is
penis.
so wild.
Which is why some men have micro penises because it never really fully extended outside of the body. They might have a lot of penis just within the body. And some women
So
actually have...
It's inside? Like,
Yeah, you
damn.
all have a little
Yeah.
bit of extra
No,
penis
but
on the
it's-
inside,
wow,
but they have a
okay.
lot more.
Whoa.
And some women have hanging clitorises, or some people with vulvas,
yeah.
which are micro penises,
dude, that is...
We got to go on break.
Oh,
We'll
shit.
talk about little peepees in just a sec.
and big clitorises.
And big clitorises.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look just like them.
Yeah.
We all have penises technically.
or we all have
clitorises.
Right.
It's just you have a bigger clitoris than some other guys. But yes, coming back to the topic, it's funny. Like a couple years back, I'm like, either everybody has a clit or everybody has a penis. They look just the same thing. It's just one is super, super small. But yeah, you're right. Some have them more like, some females have them like, I guess, more exposed than others.
Yeah.
Are we giving guys grace when they have micro penises? Are they literally just like enlarged clitorises, or is it completely different?
I give
thing?
them grace, of course.
Yeah, okay. But it's an enlarged clitoris.
Well, it's not an enlarged, it's all made up. It's analogous. I don't know if it's analogous or homologous, but in essence, it's the same tissue. But then there becomes different functions because we don't pee out of our clitorises, right? So,
right.
Right. So there are differentiations to it. And the clitoris has 8,000 nerve endings. The penis head has 4,000.
What?
So I don't know. There are differentiations. So not the exact same thing. So at that point in time,
that makes sense.
There are differences, but by and large, even if you have like bottom surgery, they really are just like utilizing that to either turn it to a clitoris or turn it into a penis. So.
Oh shit. That makes sense.
That to be said, to answer your question about performance time. So I want to talk about the 2005 thing because it's important to acknowledge that our understanding of the clitoris is very new. And so for a very long time, the assumption was that majority of women orgasm from penetration, and it's only 2/3. So for majority of people with penises who are hyper fixated on staying as hard as possible and having penetration for as long as possible to get their partner off, you're drilling the wrong hole anyways. So you'd be better off starting off with oral or some other activity that focuses on outer clitoral stimulation. And then the sex becomes kind of a bonus part. That's the part that's just for you. So rather than thinking of it like we go to the restaurant and we both like the same meal, it's like you get your meal first, then my meal comes second, and then we both leave full and satisfied. So I think that's like a point of relief of like, you're really hyper focusing on staying up and staying in there, and like that's not even what's going to be required.
Yeah, like I'll be honest. When we have sex, my main goal is for her to eat first. Like I don't like like I can't orgasm first. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, is that a good way to look at it?
What do you think?
Well, no, but like also like I have to give myself grace too because like, it's sometimes really hard.
I think it's a good way to look at it.
It's a good way to look at it, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
So like that's the whole my whole goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only way I look at it.
Yeah, I think it's like do what works for one partner and then you can shift to do what works for the other. Maybe the other is like everything works. So
for sure.
Yeah. It's a little simpler for
the way I see it is like for us, it's a guarantee gonna work.
Yeah.
So knowing that, of course I'm gonna prioritize my partner before all else. Because I know for a fact at the end of the day, it's gonna work for me.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I approach it.
Yeah, and that's how I am with oral. I'm guaranteed going to get off with oral.
Yeah.
So it's just it's acknowledging each other's anatomy, and then also if your partner does, they're part of the 1/3 who likes it's what's called unassisted clitoral stimulation, outer clitoral stimulation. Because even certain positions where you're not directly rubbing on the clitoris or using a vibrator. When a woman's on top and she's going back and forth, she's still getting outer clitoral stimulation. That's how she's getting off.
Gotcha.
She's grinding against the pelvic bone. And then you're getting both. You're getting both the inner clitoral stimulation or the G-spot, G-zone, plus you're getting outer at the same time. So you might look at it like that was a penetration orgasm.
Right. No.
Right. Yes and no.
Yeah, right. Yes.
So
it's a 50-50.
There are people who just require that. And so if your penis is a part of how your partner gets off and that's what they require and they need 40 minutes of that, that's where hands, penis, and a toy. You can transition, right? So doing one position that you like, taking a break, then using your fingers, making sure you're using that shoulder to getting that strength in there, right? To give them the pressure they require. And fingers are often better because they can curve to the person's liking.
Pressure they require is crazy. Imagine like sexy talking like that. Like, well, I'm about to give you the pressure you require. Imagine like just whispering that in your girl's ear. You're about to get the pressure you require right now. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like social media and like honestly our iPhones? Do you feel like the world right now, it's so easy to watch porn. It's so easy to get aroused. It's so easy to like, do you feel like we look at sex so much differently now? And does it benefit us or does it make things worse nowadays? To get the easiest access to porn that so many people do you feel like it affects individuals? Do you feel like, or I don't know, what do you think?
You know what I really liken it to, and I've kind of come to this, is like fast food, right? So I had this aha actually at the airport recently that, because fast food often de-stresses you, right? So it contains like micro doses of drugs that make you just feel calm. So if you're stressed out and on the go, you're like, let me just get this burger real quick. And then your cortisol levels drop and such. So I was at the airport and I'm like, man, remember at the airport they used to have like one restaurant or one or two things? Now it's like everything. And so you're already in a stressful environment and they're rigging it so you are drawn to getting these foods. And so for some of us, I could say everybody here, you may not struggle with that urge that constantly. And so the abundance of fast food may not, drastically impact your health. But for majority of Americans, as we know from the obesity rates, from the diabetic rates, it does impact them. And it does make their life substantially worse, the access to it and the amount. Of course, they're always trying to what's the cronut? Where it's like donut, burger, waffle, cheese, extra this. Like it's that. And that's what porn is too, right? So it's no longer just a burger.
Damn.
It's like a burger that's got like
glazed donut
on it, right? Yeah. Topped with fried avocado.
Yeah.
And
The
whole
Corona,
chicken.
Incredibly delicious. But
Right.
Yeah.
And so then you're
good.
right, exactly. If you're having the cronut once every 6 months.
Sure.
But many people,
It's every day. Yeah.
they struggle
every
with
day.
that impulse control and they put it in front of you constantly, and it's a sick trap.
Yeah.
And it really negatively impacts people's lives, and it impacts their intimate health, and it's sad. So
I feel like it negatively affects individuals, the majority of individuals, because there's now an expectation that they think that they have. And in reality, it's really not that.
yeah.
So
If you don't have that awareness, then exactly. When I eat fast food, I know what the fucks I'm eating.
Right.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm doing it occasionally.
Even me, I'm calculating the macros. I'm like,
Yeah.
this has this much fat. Oh shit. Okay, I gotta like trim my fat down for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, I understand what this is. So when I'm consuming porn, if I understand that this porn is to sex what WWE wrestling is to fighting, you really can't do that shit in the playground and expect to come out the victor. Because by the time that you climb up on that rope and like say your line, Henry knocked you out. Like that's not really going to work in the real world. And it's based on entertainment, and entertainment for one half of the population. So if you can look at it that way, I think it can be healthy. You can come up with ideas for things. It can, satiate your desire in a quick moment. You want to focus. You want to get a nut off. You're like, I know I can just Google this one thing. But if you have that healthy relationship, I think it can be positive. But I think for most people, it's very difficult to get to that.
And it could be a fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's no clear answer. It's not one size fits all. It just depends on your own life, I guess.
It's just, knowing what I think we all sort of have our things where we really struggle. Some people it's alcohol. Like alcohol is available in abundance. I don't struggle with that. That's not what my cross is to bear. But the fact that we live in a society that constantly puts it in your face, always advertises it, knowing that people have this weakness is a problem. So I think the same thing with porn. I think can be very problematic. I happen to have a great relationship with porn, but I'm not going to act like my experience is everybody's experience.
of course, when couples have like threesomes, it's like if I can't imagine having a threesome with somebody that I love, because I don't know what those conversations are after. And I don't know, maybe you can, put your 2 cents into that. But right, like we've even spoke about this on the podcast. Like, would you have a threesome with like your wife or this? I don't know if I could, because I feel like it would alter our relationship after. I don't know. Maybe because we're both not open like that. I don't know.
I'm not going to put my pennies in your reality.
Yeah.
Your reality is beautiful and it's sad and you're very clear about it.
Yeah.
And more beautiful is you found a partner who wants to live in that reality with you.
Got it.
So
so that's why I
keep
feel
people spare change out of that shit. You guys, the bank is good.
Yeah. So I kind of feel the same way with porn, So yeah. But like you said, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with it. Like if relationships want to watch it together and stuff like that.
We've never like been this open on a podcast before, by the way. I'm like nervous for this to come out.
Really?
Yeah.
You've said only wonderful things.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
I don't
so.
think we're saying anything bad.
Yeah.
It's normal
I think
stuff.
you've said wonderful. I think these are things that need to be said. Like
No,
I
for
said,
sure.
there's a lot of representation from people with penises who have a very particular view of sex and their experience with sex. And I think you guys have provided something really unique, very hopeful for people.
Yeah.
So I think you should talk about it more.
I want to do something, Jess. I'm gonna put you on the spot because before I know you got to go, and I want to be respectful of that. But Jess put together a bunch of questions for us, and she was very excited for you to come on the podcast.
Okay.
And I want to have Jess.
These are Jess's questions. Got it?
They are. They really are. But I don't know if we missed something that you'd want to ask Shan, just because I know you put a lot into this, and she was excited. Like I said.
We have this form that listeners can kind of fill in and ask for advice on dating, on, hey, this situation happened, am I the asshole? Like stuff like that. And we've gotten a couple of them where, for example, this guy hasn't had sexual intimacy with his partner in like 2 years. So like, how does he approach the question? Or it's vice versa. And the girl is like, hey, I try to talk to my man, but he gets so mad at me. So like, that's what I was hoping we could touch on a little bit, just because they're a little bit varied, but that also kind of helped inspire some of these questions. So I feel like, and even the ones that we didn't touch on, like you guys, like I had covered so many different topics that I feel like if anything, we should close it out and open that up to the audience. Like to comment, leave their comments, and then invite Shan for a part 2 if she's down.
Yeah.
And then we can answer those directly. You know, people are hearing her, seeing her, learning from her, and then they can kind of, you know, let us know. Or we can pitch it to, hey, specifically, like go to the form, submit your questions, and then go from there. But I think you guys covered so many things that I was really interested about.
I love that. I love that you asked 12 questions that we didn't cover and then said we've covered everything. I was like confused now.
No, yeah, we definitely covered it.
Yeah.
But I do like the whole question about like scheduling sex.
Yes, I did love that question. I do love that question.
Because a part of my brain wants me to say like, we don't need to schedule sex. Like if it's going to happen organic. And if I'm with a partner that's like, that we have to schedule sex, am I even with the right partner? Right? That's one side of my brain. The other side of my brain is it would make us need to do it. Because sometimes even if you love each other and you're in a relationship, and sometimes it does get a little bit harder when you're with somebody for so long, you know? So scheduling sex, not as in like, you know, but like to make it a point to like every night or even in the morning or like 3 times a week, you know, just to force yourself to put you in that position with your wife or your partner or whoever to have sex and almost force you can kind of be a healthy thing.
I don't think the F word and sex ever go together. So I don't think we need to, I love the sentiment of that. I think language is so important. And I come up against this a lot when we talk about masculine and feminine energy, right? And women are trying to invite men into the conversation by being like, be in touch with your feminine energy. And what they're really trying to say is be in touch with the side of yourself that, you know, feels vulnerable, that nurtures more, that is more of an empath, that focuses on the emotional aspect of things versus just more of the doing, the carving, the achieving part. But when you ask a man to be in his feminine, you're asking him to override like years of being told that, you know, don't be a pussy, don't be a girl, you know, being feminine is bad. So it's like, why do we have to use language that makes it difficult for people to get on board with a universally good idea?
Yeah.
So I think scheduling sex is just bad language for a universally great idea. The universal great idea is let's be intentional about it. Let's acknowledge that at a certain time, relationships become more dynamic, which is positive. But through that, you get so busy that you may forget this part of it. And at the end of the day, we used to schedule sex when we first got with somebody. You know, when I first got hooked up with Jared, we'd know what we were going to do. But like, hey, you know, are you free today?
Yeah, you're technically scheduling it.
Yeah.
Or like, you want to go on a date with me and like coming back home, you're technically scheduling it.
And you know to trim the pubes that day, put on the matching drawers. Like, you know, you have, and your body has time to look forward to it.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of foreplay too, right? It's setting the intention.
Yeah,
so
you're
your brain
right.
is getting turned on all day.
So when it happens, it's this fucking eruption.
You're erect for 40 minutes because
Minimum.
in your mind, minimum.
Yeah, that's minimum.
Minimum 40 minutes because you have been preparing for this moment all day.
For sure.
So I think that's
such a beautiful thing, huh? Sometimes, you know, that's more important than the actual sex.
Yes.
Especially when you're in a relationship for quite some time.
Yeah.
I think that whole like, oh my God, I'm gonna do it tonight.
Yeah.
Like that
excitement,
leading
the lead
up.
up.
And that's what sometimes goes like it's gone when you're in a relationship for so long. So I think even like the whole sexual healing stuff, that should be the healing, is the try to make it a way where we kind of have those same butterflies when we first met each other. The whole leading up to it, like,
which is being
like taking
intentional.
care of yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Slicking that hair a little bit back, a little tighter, because you're about to smash. You know what I mean? That's
extra gel.
It's a beautiful thing. Like you think about it, I'm like, wow, that we used to go through that all the time. That's such a beautiful thing.
What's your
beautiful
homie's
feeling.
name who has his hair done today?
Matt.
Who, Matt?
Matt, are you gonna have sex tonight?
Probably not.
Your hair does look great though, so yeah.
It was a good weekend, so probably.
He's tapped out. He's tapped out. He's a little break. That's how he has all the energy to do his hair. He's
Fucking
good.
Matt, just so honest.
Yeah, it's probably not. I
love that.
want to just touch on this real quick because I think this is important. You mentioned the word like just changing our vocabulary and using words like being intentional, because I love that, and I feel like that gets completely missed, especially like with guys, and not just sex, but in like dating. So I've had guys complain to me about how their girlfriend is complaining to them that they don't take them out on date nights and are creating these moments for them, even though they live with them and they're constantly eating together and they're sharing these experiences. But and for me, I'm like, well, bro, she's asking for you to be intentional when you guys are gonna go out, like setting it up, doing everything to make that moment feel special, like that this is an official date.
Yeah.
Getting ready, setting up the date nights, getting her flowers, like those little things are just like specifically, hey, I'm here to take you out on a date, and that's what we're doing. Same thing with like sex.
Yeah.
It's like, just the intentionality of like all of that.
It's
So,
crazy, like just the way she put it, like doing that stuff, that is foreplay. It really is. Taking them on the dates, driving them around, treating them like the way that they should be treated.
Yeah,
Are you going to have sex tonight?
most likely.
Most likely?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm getting done on Wednesday actually for a podcast? But I'm like towards the tail end of my cycle right now, so I don't know if I'm gonna have sex tonight. I might like wait, but on Wednesday I'm getting this thing called the O shot, and I've had it before.
Why does that sound familiar?
It's when you get your clitoris enlarged.
Whoa, so you're more sensitive.
Yeah, so it's and more surface area.
Wow.
So that you in different positions you're able to like get
Really?
it.
Have you
Yeah.
done that before?
I did do it before, but now I'm
Thoughts?
getting the O shot and I'm getting a laser too. So I'm really excited. I'm
you-
going to be having a lot
do
of
you go-
sex this week. So
happy
Is
for
there
you.
any like scientific like based studies about like how much sex you should be having? What's like a healthy amount of sex you should be having a week minimum? Is there any like actual studies done on this?
there's definitely positive benefits to having sex, but you can get those positive benefits in different places. Like Salude, right? You get lots of positive benefits here, all in one stick. But if you don't like it for whatever reason, you're
gonna-
crazy.
but you're gonna like
But you're
it.
going to like it. That doesn't mean you can't get those same benefits elsewhere.
Oh, okay.
So I'd if you're not working out or you're not sleeping well, like a doctor's prescribed amount of sex. But if you're by and large taking care of yourself, you have sex as much or as little as you and your partner want.
Oh, okay. So there's no like specific number that you would.
But no, there's not any specific.
Where do you get the O shot? Like at a med spa or something?
Yeah, this
Asking for a friend.
her name is Dr. Pouchet, and
No,
so
no,
she's,
I'm not.
she
Or like for my wife,
specializes
I'm
in
not
them.
asking. I'm very interested.
There's also a pee shot.
What does that mean?
What?
It makes like the head of your penis more sensitive and larger.
Really?
And so
I don't need that.
right, but see, this is the thing with Jared. Jared's like, I want that.
Really?
And I was like, you're already so sensitive. He's like, but I'll
Why
invite
not
some
be
more.
more?
Yeah. So I think that's kind of what we're both on, of just exploring. We love what we have, but we're like, this is so kind of
Yeah.
the same thing with kids.
Is there any moderate or severe symptoms with the O shot?
I didn't experience any, and I don't think I was told about any. They essentially take blood from other parts of your body and inject it there.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Specific
shit.
parts?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so it's like, and then it's like platelets, so they spin it so that
It only lasts like a week or something?
it lasts 6 months.
Shit.
Yeah, it lasts 6 months.
Get
Wow.
a bang for your fucking buck with the O shot.
That's
dog.
kind of crazy.
Drink Salud, get an
Yeah.
O
Get
shot.
an O
Dude, if
shot.
I was a girl,
Yes.
I'd get a no shot. I put in my bio too.
Oh, shot it up.
Like I'm O shotted up. Put it in your bio, I dare you.
Okay, I will. I think I
Currently
will.
O shot.
I'm already at like the max character limit, but I'll consider it.
Oh, okay. Well, wow.
Shan, this was incredible.
Yeah.
We're so grateful that you came on. You are a delight. You have so much knowledge and wisdom,
no.
and I just love the way you speak and the way you carry yourself. For those of you guys who are not following Shan, please do.
Yeah.
We'll link her below, her books, her YouTube, her podcast. Do you have a
Yeah.
podcast?
I do. It's called Lovers by Shan. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I love that.
Go to her podcast, subscribe to her podcast.
I
90%
am.
of our listeners are women, so they're gonna like love you.
And they're gonna love you guys. This is a wonderful episode. Thank you for having me. This
Thank
was
you.
great.
No,
I
we
learned
really
a lot.
appreciate. Me too. And doing this for so long, there's people like you that come on the show that I'm like, this makes me love what I really do. So thank you. That was really cool. I really appreciate you coming.
What you do in the bedroom or just what you do, period?
What do you mean?
This makes you love what you really do. Like
Yeah.
how you really,
Like, what do you mean by do?
what you really do.
What you doing?
That too, but no, like sitting here and listening to
Oh, okay.
Guess,
that.
like
guests
talking
like
to guests.
yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Like I love that. So
Thank you.
and I have a lot.
Let's touch.
Thank you, Shan. I appreciate
There it is,
that.
guys.
I was going to linger on that touch. But,
Okay.
All right then. Thanks.
No, yeah. So subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in la próxima plática.
Let's do it, baby.
Cool.
Let's see
I
you
hope
guys.
hope you can come back
And salud.
for real.
Part 2, yes, run it back.
Yeah, run it back.
Let's get it.
Salud. Adios.
All right, guys.
Oh my God, I'm gonna do it tonight.